Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to share with you the last episode of my NTU Singapore story. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can check out the first two episodes before you watch this one. In this video, I'm going to share with you my part-time work experience on the NTU campus, applying for full-time jobs, and finally saying goodbye to NTU Singapore. So without further delay, let's get started. After my first semester, I was finally feeling comfortable and well settled on the NTU campus. I felt I could take on more responsibilities now and pay for my living expenses. So I decided to take up a part-time job. There are many different types of part-time jobs that students go for on the NTU campus. You could work in the supermarkets or help out in the library for roughly $10 an hour. You could also approach professors and work under them as a research assistant. The stipend here varies on what the professor is willing to offer, but you can consider roughly between $500 to $1,200 per month. Otherwise, you could also go for a part-time internship. In Singapore, most of the part-time internships are generally paid internships. As per NTU guidelines, you are allowed to work for 16 hours per week doing your part-time job. For my part-time job, after speaking to a few people, I came to know about LCC Communication Cube. LCC Communication Cube is a peer-to-peer coaching for NTU students sponsored by NTU itself. They hire undergrad and postgrad students who have good communication skills as coaches to help other students who have weak communication skills. The stipend for postgrad communication coaches was $18 per hour, one of the highest offered for part-time jobs. When I came to know about this, I felt that this was something very different and interesting. Something that I'd never tried before, and the money was definitely good. So I decided to give it a shot. At that time, I did not know that this was going to be a life-changing experience for me. Joining LCC ComCube wasn't easy. There were 3 rounds of interviews, after which I was hired as a postgrad communication coach, along with 10 to 15 other coaches. We were first given extensive training by NTU professors as to how to guide students, how to give them feedback on their assignments, and after that we were allotted clients. I still remember the first student whom I helped with English communication. She was an undergrad student and was facing difficulty in writing her research assignment. I helped her in structuring her assignment, ensured that there was proper flow in her writing, and also helped her with grammatical errors. At the end of the session, she was so thankful to me and genuinely appreciated me for having helped her. Her words made me feel really good about myself, and I had never had that feeling before. I felt as if for the first time in my life, I had given back to someone. Till now, I had only taken help from people to grow in my career. But today, I was able to help someone. And even though I had made a very small difference in their life, I felt really happy. After that, I started taking more and more sessions at ComCube. Not only was I able to help other students, but I started noticing my communication skills improving in the process. I had always thought of myself as someone who was good in academics and pretty average in all other things. I had never thought I could be good in something like this as well. Slowly, working at ComCube started giving me more happiness than working on my own research project for which I was enrolled in NTU. In a span of 1 year, I was able to coach 120 students from 15 different countries in improving their written and oral communication skills. There used to be days when I used to think, I wish these kind of facilities were available to me when I was doing my undergrad. I wouldn't have struggled so much in writing my SOP, preparing my resume, or publishing my research paper. And I realized that this barrier to good communication skills did not exist only in Southeast Asian countries, but it also existed back at home. There were a lot of students studying in colleges in India who struggled with their communication skills. They did not know how to write an assignment properly in English or speak well in an interview. Thinking about these things, I immediately wanted to come back to India and start Wise Up so that I can help students in improving their communication skills. But there was something which was stopping me from taking such a huge step. I felt that I was being naive. I had come to Singapore straight out of college. I had no work experience. I had spent a lot of money pursuing my masters, which I had to recover. And starting something like Wise Up, which nobody had ventured into before, was extremely risky. So I decided to put my dreams, my plans on hold, and I started looking for a job in Singapore. I knew the job search process won't be easy, and therefore I decided to start early. I was supposed to graduate in December, but there was a career fair which was happening in May itself, which I decided to attend, even though most of the people attending it were graduating either in June or July. To give you some context, in universities abroad, placements don't happen in the same way that they do in India. What universities do is that they organize a career fair where many different companies come and put up their stalls. What you are supposed to do is go up to each stall, interact with the company representatives, share your resume, and explore opportunities with them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Since I came from a material science background, there weren't a lot of companies for my field. Most of the companies were either semiconductor, electronics, IT, or business related. So even though I attended all 3 days of the career fair, I didn't have much luck. After that, I started applying off campus to a lot of companies. I remember it being a very difficult time for me. My confidence level was at an all-time low. Every day I used to get rejection emails from companies. I started doubting myself. What was the point of working so hard in life when nobody wanted to hire me? I remember that my mom used to keep consoling me over the phone, saying that I should not lose hope and one day I would find a job. In the end, 6 months later, after sending out 200 job applications, I got job offers from 2 companies. A lot of people constantly ask me and comment on my videos saying, "Can I get a job in Singapore?" And the true answer I feel like giving everyone is that I don't know. Personally, for me, finding a job in Singapore was very difficult, despite studying in a Singapore university, having a good academic background, and soft skills. For some people, this process was much easier than what I had to go through, but for some others, it is even more difficult than mine. So, will you get a job in Singapore? Well, it depends upon your qualifications and the amount of hard work that you're ready to put in looking for a job. I still remember the day when I got my job offer. I was working at my research lab at NTU when I got a phone call from the Bangkok office of ExxonMobil. They told me that I had secured a position of a fixed equipment engineer at ExxonMobil Chemical in Singapore. More than happiness, a sense of relief washed all over me. I was always afraid that if I didn't get a job, I would have to return back home. But after receiving the call, I was relieved that my journey in Singapore was not over. I did not have to go back home, and I could finally start working and earning my own money in Singapore. I submitted my thesis in December and came back home for Christmas and New Year. My new job was supposed to start in February of the next year. Even though my journey at NTU was over, I wasn't upset because my journey in Singapore was still left and I could always visit NTU whenever I wanted. I just want to say one thing here, that today, whatever I am and whatever I have become is because of NTU Singapore. NTU gave me an opportunity to explore a part of myself that I never thought existed. When you speak to some of the NTU students, they would tell you that NTU is just another university abroad. There isn't anything too great about it. But for me, NTU changed my life. It made me find my purpose, for which I am forever going to be grateful. So guys, this brings me to the end of my NTU Singapore story. I hope these videos gave you some insights of who I am as a person and how important a role NTU played in starting Wise Up Communications. If you want me to make more videos on my job experience in Singapore, then please hit the like button. It will motivate me that I should continue making videos on my journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you have a fantastic day ahead.